Boom, what's up, go-getters?
In this week's episode, we take a sit down with Aida Ozuna, who's amassed over 37,000 subscribers on YouTube. She's also a content creator and entrepreneur.
Be sure to like and subscribe the video and enjoy the podcast.
We hope you guys enjoy.
Boom, Aida Ozuna.
Welcome to the Go-Getters podcast.
Thank you for having me.
For sure. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I mean, shout out to the Woodlands again for this round 2. We're running it back down here at their facility. Blessings.
Let's go.
That's lit.
But it's great. Tell us a little bit about like your YouTube journey. Like, how'd you get into that? Like content creation. What made you want to pursue that like route in your life? I guess after high school, or did you get into it during high school?
I wish I got into it during high school. I feel like it would have just blew up in high school because nobody was doing that. Who do you know that was doing a YouTube channel in high school?
Nobody.
Not really.
Yeah,
Nobody.
Especially where we were.
Right, exactly. But yeah, no, I guess the motivation when I moved out. So I moved out at the age of 17.
Okay.
As soon as I graduated, I was like, I'm out. Basically back home. So I'm originally from Florida.
Okay.
So I moved back home and I guess, so I was like struggling really in Florida because, you know, you're moving out, you don't know nothing, you think you're grown.
Yeah.
So yeah, then I just was doing many different things and finally that's when I had my son. So I had him, I got pregnant at 19, so that was definitely something that was very new to me.
Yeah.
Like you're bringing a whole human. So I'm like, you know what, like, and I actually went to school as well for massage therapy and esthetician, but ended up not having the time because I'm having, I had a newborn.
Yeah.
So you know what, I'm like, how can I make money but still like express myself? And I just thought of starting a YouTube channel. Like I was just researching, I remember journaling, I'm a big journal. I'm like nervous, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Don't worry about it.
I'm a big
Yeah, no, just ease into it. It's cool. We'll be here.
So I'm a big like journal person.
Yeah.
So I like writing everything down because I just like reading back to it when I need that motivation, to keep going. But anyway, like I just had it, like how to start a YouTube channel. I always research before I start anything.
Okay.
So I just YouTube's how to start a YouTube channel. What do you need? You know, the things that you need to get monetized. You need 1,000 subscribers. Well, I don't know now.
Yeah.
Like when I started.
It is a little different now, but go ahead.
How different? Wait.
I believe you have to hit, I think it's like 1,000 subscribers. It's about 10,000 views, and then it's like 1,000 watch hours. So there's a couple different things, a couple different criteria you have to hit.
Yeah.
But I believe that's what it is now.
But it changes because I remember people were getting paid for literally just recording videos. But it obviously changed because everybody's starting a YouTube channel now. But yeah, I literally started with my iPhone 8.
Yeah.
And I didn't even have a ring light. I couldn't afford a ring light. And that's what I would use.
Yeah.
Just
And what kind
iPhone.
of content were you making at that time?
It would just be like vlogs, random content. I guess I wouldn't say it's not meaningful, but not really, I don't know. I guess I like impacting and talking more. So like, I don't know, just motivating people. Yeah. Not really showing my life and vlogging. That's not my style.
Vlogs are very popular on YouTube too. Like people eat up vlogs all the time. I remember, what year did you say you started doing that?
2000. I started my YouTube channel in 2018 or 2019.
I would say, right around that, like the 2016, 2017, 2018 era, like right before COVID started, vlogging was huge on YouTube. That was probably one of the biggest things you could do on YouTube at that time.
But like honestly, when you're starting your YouTube channel, you don't want to start off with vlogging. Like see what you guys are doing. Like this is dope. Like I can see this. Like y'all got this. Everything is good. Like I can see this go big. You know? And
thank you.
You guys are impacting people, and it's going to blow up. You know, it might take some time because everybody's different, but it will. But like starting off when nobody really knows you, you're just vlogging. Nobody, really, no offense, but nobody really cares.
Yeah, I mean, because there is a lot of people there's also a lot of people that podcast now. Like this is one of the biggest growing like online ventures that people are doing nowadays too.
And you can monetize it as well.
Yeah, it's also hard to like be an individual and like do your own thing and do it differently. Like that's one thing we're learning too, is like every day like we sit down and try to figure out like how we can innovate to take it a step further, because a lot of people do it not necessarily the same, but it's a very simple format. You just sit down and have a conversation. So like how can you, I guess, I don't know, change that up,
Be
make
different,
it
be unique, be yourself, and express yourself.
What can you provide to people? You know, how can you impact? How can you make somebody's day better than, you know, how it was doing before they met you, you know?
Yeah.
And that's like how I got into the whole thing, because I loved watching like all kinds of content on YouTube and like podcasts before I started. So I knew like what it did for me. And then I also had like my own message and stuff I wanted to put out there. So that's like basically how we got into it too.
And that's good. Like, and also as a person that creates, you also need to balance consuming. You can't consume. I always tell people that, and that's something that I'm guilty of, because when I first started, I would consume lots of content, but then it's like I didn't have my own voice, because I was trying to emulate, you know, people that I would consume and admire, and that's good. Like, we all have similar qualities, that's why we're attracted to certain types of people, you know? But, you know, be your own person and find your own voice and your style.
That's a good point, because I think I don't ever really hear people bring that up a lot, but I think it is very easy to try to like emulate stuff you already see working. And you also see a lot of other big time YouTubers doing that as well. They'll just copy, like, say like a Mr. Beast, for example, because of how big he is. There's so many people that will just try to emulate what that guy does. And we talk about that all the time, about like how important it is to be an individual on here, because it's very easy to see like when somebody's being inauthentic, and you could tell that they're just copying off of other people, which is not fun, you know? So
when you first started doing like YouTube and stuff like that, was there a thought in your head where like you were kind of afraid what people were going to think of you back home and like all your friends and the people you knew? Like, was that something that was in your mind? And if so, obviously, how did you like overcome that type of fear?
Yeah, honestly, moving out of the state kind of helped that, because you're not around. You're not surrounded, you know, in that environment. A lot of people here don't have, well, I don't know now, but back in the day, a lot of people didn't have the entrepreneur mentality or like content creation. That wasn't a thing, you know?
Right.
So I guess moving out and surrounding myself in a different environment allowed me to, I guess, not really care, or like, you know, because I wasn't really in contact with the people back home.
Out the way a little bit. But I like how you mentioned also like finding your own voice. And I think for a lot of people that's very difficult. So how were you able to separate yourself from the voices you were watching and the people you were watching into finding your own way of expressing yourself creatively?
Honestly, and I'm currently like on a hiatus, like I'm like MIA on social media, and that's what helped me. So I know when I go back into social media, basically this period of time, I'm not being influenced by outside sources. Like when you're on social media, you don't notice it, but the things you see like are influencing you. Like you may see something, and then you're like, let's say you see somebody eating a burger. Later on, you're like, oh, I'm hungry. Let me eat a burger. Because that low-key influenced you, you know?
I feel like they're doing that consciously. Like they're planting those little seeds for them to kind of grow in your mind. Like,
that's why they're called influencers.
Commercials and stuff like that. But influencers, they have a way of like getting in your mind. And I think that's really cool too, because oftentimes like you'll see some of our authority figures will be able to set themselves in our mind as well. Like sometimes people will tell us not to shoot for our endeavors because it might not be the best idea. It might not be the best option. But I think it takes a person who's capable of getting in tune and in contact with their own voice to be able to like, nah, this is what I want to do. I'm going to chase this dream, even though it might not be as conventional as what everybody around you is doing as well. So I think that's a really cool aspect of it as well. But so you said you're off of social media.
Yeah.
As of right now.
I wouldn't consider Snapchat social media. That's like the local.
Like, it's like a little.
But I guess like on my major platforms like YouTube and like Instagram, which is I don't have a huge following, but they're loyal. Like I just love them. Shout out to them. But yeah, I'm like off of those social media.
What do you attribute that to? Like what is the break you're taking? Why'd you decide to go that route?
Honestly, because I just experienced lots of different changes all at once. And I feel like I wasn't. And also, this is just so much, because when I first started my YouTube channel, I started it as a hobby. Then it became a job. Because I started, you know, getting monetized. But then it became more so like, what content can I put out to get money? You know, it wasn't something that I started enjoying, or like, I don't know, I was losing like passion for it. And I was just like, you know what? And I was getting burnt out too. So I was like, you know what? Let me take a break. And that was like during the time, like I actually started back a 9-to-5 after being an entrepreneur for like 3 years straight. Not working a job. It was definitely like a major shift.
And what was that like for you?
What do you mean?
Like taking that time off to go back to like that regular 9-to-5 job life and kind of just living for a little bit. Was it like good for you? Was it negative? Do you like the idea of like that, the 9-to-5 job, or do you rather pursue like a hobby or a dream or something like that?
I'd rather pursue, like, for the long term, definitely you still have to have a backup plan. So the hobby obviously is ideal. Like I would love to just impact people and get paid for it. Like that's amazing because that's something I do every day anyway. I don't know, like with my friends or people I encounter, I always try to share positivity. People get paid for that.
That's great.
So that's something that I want to do, but honestly, you need money to start.
Absolutely.
To maintain those things.
Right. I think like with the rise of social media now, like entrepreneurship is kind of like, it's like this big thing that everybody should be doing, and it's like this big, huge, great idea, and it's like a walk in the park. But I feel like a lot of people don't understand, like being an entrepreneur and becoming financially independent like takes so much work. It takes more work than like a 9-to-5 job and effort. It's like a child almost. Yeah. Like I had this one little business where I would go to local restaurants and I would ask them I would ask the owner of the restaurant if I can give them free restaurant placemats, right? Where it's like those, like a wing restaurant, like there'll be like the placemat to kind of help with the mess and whatever. And they were like, yeah, for free. I was like, yeah, I'll give you 5,000 of them. They'll last you X amount of months. And they were like, yeah, for sure. And then I would put like their logo in the middle, and then I would call like local business owners and I would say, hey, like, do you want to advertise right on the placemats in these restaurants for people to see when they come and eat? And they'd be like, how much? And I'd be like, 200. And I had 28 different people I was working with that were paying me to put their business on this placemat in these restaurants that I was working with. But that in itself took me like 50 hours a week. Calling people, meeting with people, running to grab checks and show them work. And then I had to work with print shops, and it's just like, and I was working a regular job too.
See?
And it was like I was having to leave the regular job on the clock to go do this. And I was getting myself in trouble. So so like that entrepreneurship, like,
it's tough.
It is tough.
It's not for the weak.
It's not for the weak. You have to like legitimately be strong-minded. But I think what's cool about it is there's little pieces of self-development within there. Like you have to grow to be a patient person. You know, you have to be able to talk to people. If you can't talk to people, people are gonna be like, why would I want to work with you? You know?
But you know what? Something that when I was a full-time entrepreneur, like I was on like that hustle grind mode, like don't stop, don't sleep. Like, I'm going to sleep at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, but that's not it. Like over time, like you get burnt out. And
absolutely.
You lose like, I don't know, you don't have that same feeling or that same like, I don't know, passion for that.
Especially like project. When you mix like profit into that conversation, and then like you were saying before how like it almost felt like you were doing it for the money and you were losing some of the passion.
No.
That takes a lot out of you. It really does. You can't
just do it for the money because sometimes the money not there.
And like when you're living crazy hours like that and like doing very extreme things and that's all you're focusing on, it pulls a lot of the creativity out of the content you're making. And I think people could see that too.
They can.
I heard you say earlier about this podcast that you were doing. What about that? What happened to that?
Okay, so I actually launched that on my 21st birthday, I believe. 21st birthday. I plan on relaunching it. I remember I changed the name, but then I changed it back. But it's the Real Confessions, and basically it's like this. But you guys talk lots of, about sports and things like that, and many different topics. But basically, it's sort of like this, but it's more so guided to like mental health and like, I don't know, I'm still, I guess, revamping it. So that's why I just took a break from everything to kind of figure out what I want to do, what I want to talk about, have an intention behind it, and then just come back crazy.
That's cool.
Yeah, that is dope.
You have to get us on there. We'll talk on there.
Nah,
we can do like a collab.
That'd be lit.
That would be pretty cool.
That'd be cool.
That would be lit.
So did you have any experience with mental health to where you felt it was necessary for you to want to talk about that type of stuff?
Definitely.
Yeah?
Yes, I feel like I've experienced a lot without realizing it. I feel like maybe I always say I don't want to self-diagnose myself, but I do suffer from like anxiety and overthinking. And like, it's a lot. So I just feel like I'm not the only one experiencing this. So I wanted to talk about it and share.
Yeah, that's cool. A lot of people experience that, especially a lot of people who are in creative endeavors as well. So you have to kind of navigate around that.
Yes. And over time, just with everything that happens, a pandemic, like lots of people went through traumatic things. And we develop anxiety as we get older, or depression, or whatever it may be. It's important to talk about it and be aware about it.
That's true.
It's a spiral. You got to continuously grow.
You got into reading recently, huh? Or you've been reading?
I don't know, I've been reading. I'm like on and off with reading. Low-key, I've been slacking. But I like listening to podcasts. I like journaling. But reading, I've been slacking. But I read lots, like physical books, I've been slacking. But like online, I'm always reading. Like I love Reddit, Google. Like I'm just always reading blogs and stuff like that.
Consuming knowledge.
Yeah. Trying to update the mind.
Yeah.
Right.
So do you have a plan for like coming back, or like when you want to jump back into, the whole like content creation scene? And if so, like what do you want to focus on?
I guess what I want to focus on is just being myself. Yeah. I guess I was overthinking it when I was creating content. Like, what do I want to create? Like, people used to say, like, niche down. Like, only create one type of content and go with that. But, like, I don't want to just box myself in. Yeah. I want to just talk about different things, talk to different people about just many different things. Yeah. I don't want to just box myself in.
Yeah, picking a niche, it could be like a smart decision to do, especially like on YouTube and like how the algorithm and monetization works. But I also think it's very impersonal to just stick to one thing, and it could hold you back a lot too, because it keeps you from doing like a lot of the things that you actually want to do.
Especially to a person who wears many hats, and who has many interests. Like, if you're a family person and if you are into real estate, but you also like to create art, but on the side you like to do something crazy. Like, you're going to want to show them everything, because it's all those are forms of expressing yourself. I agree with you on that. Like, it's very hard to just pick one thing and just stick to that.
And then that's what you also become known for, and that's what people will reach out to you for. So I was creating lots of business content, and I would have lots of people reaching out about starting their business. And then I shift my content into like mental health, and then I would have people reaching out to me about like mental health and like saying, "Oh my God, your videos help me," and things like that. And like, I don't know, it just depends. Yeah.
That's crazy. You gotta so how did you go from starting a YouTube channel on iPhone 8 to accumulating 37.5K followers on YouTube? Like, what was the process like? That only took a few years.
It did.
And YouTube's a grind.
Right. YouTube is a grind.
And like, that's not even like, I guess the 100K is like, where you really celebrate, and then like million, like there's always going to be milestones. But I grew that up. So I literally had 0 followers. Yeah. So 0
That's
subscribers. Crazy.
So was it like, were you trying to like analyze the algorithm? Like how did you approach that?
Honestly, at first it just started as a hobby. Yeah. And then I started really looking into it. I also did, which I would not recommend, getting into like YouTube groups where like, I don't know why I did this, but like basically we would all watch our videos, and you're not supposed to do that. Don't do that.
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, and like they would comment, and like you would actually sit there and watch because of the watch time and things like that. Yeah. But then people it became like a competition, and like at one point I'm like, you know what, I'm leaving this. See y'all at the top. Yeah, right. And I just left. But yeah, don't do that. Just like don't focus on the numbers when you start anything.
That's
don't
very
focus
important.
on the numbers.
It's hard not to though. Like it really is, especially when you are at the point of like starting it and shit is starting to grow like very rapid. Yeah. And then like you might hit like a plateau, or it might start getting a little bit drier, and then people panic when that happens. Yeah. So I think, like you're saying, it is very important to not focus on numbers. It's something I struggle with a lot too, because like this whole thing, like this whole podcast is like my baby. So like when I get to see like the growth like overnight, how shit's happening, it really does fire me up. But it is very important to not get too emotionally caught up on whether or not a video is doing too good or not.
And don't let like the opinion of others, where like the metrics define who you are. Just because you start off with 1 subscriber doesn't mean that your video is less than somebody that has a million subscribers. Like somebody is going to see that video one day. So just be mindful of what you put out, into the world as well.
Yeah, and building like that fan base initially, it is like those people really do care about you, like those initial couple of people that subscribe to your channel. So like I think it's very easy to not confine yourself to like a specific niche early on, because the people that like subscribe to your content anyways, like they like you for you. They don't just like you because of what you're doing. Right. That's an important thing I think a lot of people need to realize when they first start off as well.
And also people come and go. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I consume certain types of people, I guess, during certain seasons of my life. Yeah. Like you have those type of creators that help heal you. You have certain types of creators that amuse you. They're there for entertainment. You have certain creators that you just have different creators for different things. Well, at least I do.
Yeah. I don't really think about it like that. Like you have different people you watch for different reasons.
Like some for comfort. Like I'm like, I'll feel good watching this, some people I watch for like educational, like finance videos. I'm not going to go to, well, I've done that before, but I'm not going to go to sleep to a finance video because it's relaxing, but not really. You want to be
I know what you mean. I'm like kind of similar to that, but it's a little bit different. Like I have certain people like I like to sit down and watch like when I'm eating, like if I want to throw like some videos like up on the TV or whatever. I have certain people I watch like you're saying like when you lay down to go to sleep. I have certain people to like I watch when I'm commuting like and like on the aux or whatever. So I definitely know what you mean in that regard.
But honestly, I've been listening to more podcasts than watching videos.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm on the go a lot.
Me too.
What podcast you like?
I like mindset podcasts. Like I listen to like psychologists. I like just conversational podcasts like this. Mom podcasts. What else? Finance podcasts. Just like I like learning, self-development, self-improvement.
Have you always been a person who is like creative and like kind of hungry for knowledge, or did you like learn this about yourself after you kind of grew up, had a kid, and then just, you know, started being in the real world?
Honestly, I feel like in high school I had this mentality, but I wasn't really surrounded with people that, you know, watered that. Because I feel like the people around you help you grow in a way because they feed into you and you feed into them. Well, at least that's how it should be. You know, but if you're around people that are not on that same type of time, you know, it's very difficult. So I feel like I was always like that, but I felt, and it may not have showcased that way, but I felt like the black sheep, you know, with like people's mindset. I guess my mindset was different even in high school.
That's interesting because I think that's really important to have like a strong like system of friends that you can bounce ideas off of, and that can give you like legit constructive criticism from a meaningful place with good intention. And I can relate with that. Like I felt like I was always like trying to get onto something or a scheme on something, or, you know, in high school, but it just wasn't really where anyone else was at. And I don't know if I was really trying to explore my own self so much, you know. And I think I started getting into that as well. And like you said, the word mindful, I like that a lot. Like to be able to be mindful about what you're thinking and how you're feeling and what you want to start doing, I think is important. You know, I think that's really cool. And you had a kid pretty young.
I did.
So did that shift your perspective at all to where like you needed to start like living a different life, or how did that like change in your life?
It's definitely an adjustment because like we're young. Like how old are you guys? 21. I'm literally 22, turning 23. So we're like around the same age, you know? So imagine you guys having kids.
I couldn't picture it right now. Couldn't do it.
Like it wasn't expected, you know? But I don't know, I definitely feel like I had to not grow up early, but adjust because I'm still learning about myself. And this is like where I'm like battling. I'm just like, I have so many different things. Like you said, so many different hats, so many different roles in my life. So I'm a mom, but I also, you know, want to get into entrepreneurship. I create shit. Like I'm a podcaster. Like I'm a daughter. I'm so many different things. And it's like, oh my God, like how do I?
It's hard to balance it all.
It is.
Transitioning is also hard. I find that like to be able to transition from, you know, the boyfriend to the creator. So you have to kind of like a switch. Like you have to wear a different mask. You know what I mean? And approach it differently almost. Like sometimes there's reason for like being soft and receptive, and then there's times to be stern and assertive. You know what I mean? And it's like a different kind of mask you have to transition into, which I think is interesting, and it's not something that many people talk about.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot. And like I guess this is where my anxiety heightens because like I overthink. Like I'm like always trying to be steps ahead, you know, always thinking ahead, planning, like what can I do to be better? And like that could be a pro and then a con, you know, it could be your downfall as well. Because like you can never, like it's like you don't really, how do I say this? You don't really show gratitude to like the process, you know, what you guys are doing, like the beginning of this, like you have to be grateful and like trust the process, you know, and like keep in mind like the vision you see for this podcast.
Right.
Using this podcast for example.
Right. I think that's cool how you said you like journaling too, because that's something I got into a little while ago, and you can write anything down on those pages. And if you could write down a vision that you have, and you say, and it's like almost like a form of manifestation, like I want this to happen, or I want it to look like this, or whatever. For some reason, writing it down on a piece of paper and getting it off your mind through your hand and on a piece of paper with ink, it's like it's really powerful.
It is.
You know? And it's also with like like your thoughts and your feelings. If you can write that down, it's almost like you're ridding yourself of those things.
Yeah.
Which is very, very powerful.
Yeah.
So when did you start getting into like journaling?
Whoa, a long time. I guess moving out, so like 2017, 2018, because that was like a form of expression. Like I was going through a lot mentally during that time. I was in a toxic relationship. I guess we can talk about relationships because that's important as well.
Yeah. What was that like? Toxic relationship. What made you realize it was toxic?
Where my mental health started declining, you know, where I started questioning certain things and like.
Well, this is a good conversation to have, I think, because it's crazy how love is blinding.
Oh yeah,
like it's crazy because you can be in a relationship. You could be in a relationship, right? And your friends would be like, "Yo, what are you doing? Like, do you not see this shit?" Yeah. And you'd be like, "What? Like, what are you talking about?"
I'm in love. Stop.
Yeah, right. So what made you realize like this? Wait a minute. Like, what made you detach? It was like, wait, this is toxic. Like, I gotta figure this shit out.
Yeah.
When I was like waking up and not being like happy, like my anxiety was heightened. I was like, you know, I was just like, I got to go. And it's different when you live with a person. I don't know if you guys experience living with.
Nah. Can't take it there for a while.
Keep it that way.
You gotta push the pawn strategically before you go that route.
Now, was this when you were down in Florida?
Yeah.
Okay, it was just you and this person. Do you have any family down there?
I do. Okay. My dad lives there. I do have like my dad's side of the family lives there, but I kind of just isolated myself in a way, which cause that's what you get like when you try to be grown.
Yeah.
But you know, it's good to just experience everything. Don't rush everything.
Yeah.
You know, don't rush to move out. You know, and I don't regret it because I learned a lot, and people can learn from this, and I can learn from just my mistakes. But yeah.
Well, yeah. What was that like for you? Like, what was some of the troubles, or I guess realizations that came to you when you moved? Like, what was that like? Being on your own for the first time, and like, I guess traversing life that way.
I guess that's where the entrepreneur in me started like developing. Because I really did not have that mindset here, like in Wilkes-Barre, like, you know, who do you really see? Now it's like a popular thing, but living here and going to school here, like that's not something that was, you know, very.
It was rap or play a sport.
Yeah. Play a sport, especially like. Yep. That's just not my route. But
But I think you kind of need some people to like. Kind of take after in that regard though, because we didn't really have any. I definitely agree with you. We didn't have anything like that around here. Like there was nobody kind of chasing like some online venture. I actually know a lot of people that wanted to do it. Yeah. I guess they just either had a fucked up mindset or they just couldn't bring themselves to start or whatever it may be.
That's exactly what it is. It's really your mindset. Because I remember me wanting to start a YouTube channel. I would literally record videos. I don't even know what I had at the time, like a laptop, iPad, I don't know. Yeah. But I literally would record videos talking. I wasn't posting it on any platform, but I was just talking and pretending like, you know, hey guys, welcome back to my
I used to do that too, but I was terrible. I used to be doing it while I was eating bowls of cereal. And I was like, what am I doing? And I stopped doing it for a while.
Oh, like the little tripods?
You literally would have blew up if you started doing that. Those are called mukbangs now.
I know. They just told me about that.
That's another fucking thing, too. I don't understand that. What is that? Why do people enjoy watching that so much on the YouTube side of things?
I used to, but not anymore. I'm like, I don't have time to sit here and watch people talk unless you're talking about something important.
Is it just like...
eat.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like a podcast, I guess, because you're like talking to the camera, like you're talking to people. Slurping. Yeah, but that's why I don't get that. Why do people like that shit?
Right, crab legs, hella butter just falling off it.
I like the ASMR though. I like videos like that.
That's another one I don't understand though either. My brother loves that stuff, and I don't really. Does it like help you? That's funny. Yeah, people and like there's specific mics designed for that kind of shit too. I don't get it. I wonder if like the mukbang thing has anything to do with like the enjoyment. Like, 'cause, I mean, I was just talking about it before, but how much I enjoy like sitting down and eating food while I watch YouTube videos. Yeah. So like maybe like that has something to do with it.
So what do you guys like to watch usually? Like what's the first thing you'll turn on YouTube?
Well, my YouTube feed has some interesting things.
Mine's like typically like podcasts or I like conspiracy is, I guess, a lack of a better word, but like I like videos where people discuss, like I guess you could say eerie topics. I like that kind of stuff. I see like mystery. I guess you could say. Mystery, okay.
I see a lot of like podcasts. I see a lot of philosophical things too, like a lot of like Jordan Peterson stuff, a lot of Alan Watts stuff, some Montreal. You know what I'm talking? Montreality. Ever see those?
No, I have no
idea. Those are cool, man.
What's that?
It's like they'll interview like a person and they'll ask them like what their essentials are and stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Right. I like looking, like, basically people's feed. It tells you a lot about that person.
Oh, yeah.
Because your algorithm is literally created from your, like, interest.
It knows you so well.
Yeah.
That's so creepy how that works. And all platforms are like that, too.
And that's the thing. This is why, like, overconsumption and, like, consuming so much content it could be, not good as well.
Yeah.
Because you're constantly seeing things.
Right. I had to, like, all of my apps are time constricted.
See?
So, like, you'll see here, when I go to click on it, it'll say you reached your limit.
See?
That's funny.
But I still skip it anyway. But I know, okay, I've been on here for 15 minutes. Like, let me chill. You know what I mean?
See, the time one did not work for me. What I just turn off notifications. Because I can find myself having my phone here, but if I don't see the notification, I don't pick my phone up and then, let me just click on this, and then boom, I'm on my phone for like 5 hours.
Do you think with the rise of all of this, like, media, beautiful people and people with crazy expensive houses and cars, like, do you think that might have contributed towards people being more anxious and people being more disconnected?
I think in a way, but I feel like honestly now the people that have money, like, they're not on really social media. They're living life, They don't, I feel like a lot of people, social media it could be good, but I also feel like it's a lot of people trying to prove themselves to be better or like that they're better than they. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I get it, but I think it calls upon like this comparison factor.
Oh yeah,
where you see it and you're like, oh man, I want that car.
Especially if you're somebody who dreams big and that's what you want.
Yeah. Oh, I want that.
And it's good
shirt,
to see those
shoes.
things. Like I'm on Pinterest a lot because I look up certain stuff and certain houses and certain apartments and like certain decor and like things that I want to. It's good, but
I think there's a positive aspect to it, but I think in a way it does contribute towards like this comparison thing.
Yeah.
Like there's this quote that comparison is the thief of joy.
I love that quote.
Right? And
he's the fucking quote guy.
Yeah. And
oh my God.
And I think one of the two reasons why we're constantly just scrolling is one, because it might cause us to be a little bit more anxious.
Yeah.
And when we're anxious, it seems like we just want to pawn our mind off.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be with my thoughts. Like I want to just distract myself.
Yeah.
And just
Scroll. Yeah.
Right. But also a lot of these platforms, like I'm pretty sure TikTok is designed to keep you on the app as long as it possibly can.
You don't hear people say, "Oh my God, I took a break from TikTok because I was on TikTok for like 6 hours straight."
Yeah, that's crazy. But their algorithm is so cut and clean and pristine, and it knows you so very well. And the creators on TikTok are so good at just creating captivating videos. Where
and now you can monetize TikTok. So it's crazy.
You like TikTok?
I was on TikTok for a while. I might hop on back on TikTok.
Do you scroll on TikTok or do you not have it right now?
No, I don't have. I mean, I have it on my phone. I just don't use it.
Okay.
But yeah, when I was on TikTok, like I was just scrolling and cracking up. Like TikTok is funny.
It's funny. Yeah, it is.
It is.
It's like my nightly routine kind of. I just go on TikTok at the end of the
That's why I was never able to get into it, because I'm like the same way you are in that sense. It's like I have it on my phone, but we literally just have it for this podcast to post clips onto. I'd never use TikTok.
Honestly, don't overwhelm yourself as well. Like starting off, don't overwhelm yourself with being on too many platforms. Like there's so many platforms. If you think about it, there's like Instagram, there's YouTube, there's freaking Facebook. I don't use
everything.
Facebook. I use Facebook, but there's literally everything.
Twitch, Discord, Patreon.
Podcasts, yes, Patreon, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all of these platforms, which just focus on getting on a few. Yeah. But with the podcast, I definitely recommend getting on a platform like Apple Podcasts and Spotify, because I feel like it'll definitely be easier for people to listen to you, because a lot of people are on the go. They want to play it while they're driving or like working out or,
That's one thing a lot of people have been saying, and we've been thinking about that a lot recently. It's just the only problem with doing things like that is you either need to buy like a pretty big subscription to a couple other platforms that'll like allow you to push this content out, because storing I was telling you a little bit earlier, like the podcast size file, it's very hard to like transfer that back and forth between like platforms and stuff. So you either need to buy like a subscription to do things like that, or you need to have your own website to host it off of. And we're actually doing that right now. We're trying to get a website made to host content off of our own website, and then they could just pull from that, which I think is dope. But one thing that's really good about YouTube, like why we chose to start there first, It's just because of how many people actually interact with the platform of YouTube. It's I believe it's the second most Googled and used app in the entire world.
Yes.
So,
really?
Yeah.
I think it's Google and YouTube. They're like the top.
Google's number one. So Google's the number one most Googled thing, obviously. Or
it's like, oh, let me Google this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or like the most typed in thing is Google, and Google also owns YouTube. YouTube's number 2.
They were clever with the word Google.
Google.
Because
Why do you
Google
think that
is like
is?
Google's like the word you use.
They roll off the tongue. Google.
Yeah. Google. Like it's like damn.
Do you think they thought that when they created it?
Yes, I think they do, because I think they wanted it to become like its own word.
Yeah.
Like twerk. Like, you know what I mean?
See, but I think that's like I know
There's a word for
it's
it.
a business term, but it's basically when a brand positions themselves as the authority. So like Band-Aid. Band-Aid is the name of the brand.
Right.
But the Band-Aid, that is actually like I don't know what's the real name of it.
I
but
know
right.
The
Same
name
thing
is
with
not
like
a Band-Aid.
chapstick. Chapstick is like
it's a brand.
It's a lip balm.
It's just like the thing.
It's
you put on
literally
your
a lip balm.
Chapstick is its own brand.
Is a brand though, but everybody calls it chapstick.
Exactly.
You know what I
So
mean?
that's kind of like
That's interesting.
positive positioning, or
Yeah.
like you're making yourself as the like authority, you know?
It's a solid strategy.
It's a question I have about that though is, can you really predict if that'll work though? Like, is it just something that happens and then it kind of you just run with it in the future?
I don't know. Maybe if you have like all these people, but when you first start a business, like you don't have all these people that you hire, like all these analytical, like this is gonna pop off. I kind of just think people go for it and take that risk.
Yeah.
I don't think Elon Musk, like it's always that story of like Elon Musk and all of these different CEOs and like billionaires, like they started off like with nothing, you know, they started off just like us, but they kept going, and you know, they made money and just kept pushing.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it though, I think Google was a typo. Like I think they were.
What do you think they were going for originally?
I don't know. I think like maybe they spilled the coffee on like a computer or something. But I'm pretty sure I read that like something happened to the computer and like something was typed and it's just GOOGLEEEEEEEE, and then they just decided Google. That's just how that happened.
Google's fucking funny.
But what do you think? Do you think you want to be rich one day, like wealthy, or do you think it's because some people think it's taboo to be rich? You know, what do you think?
I don't know, cause like what do you consider rich? I feel like that's
like a Bob Marley question. You ever see that?
No.
Possession make you rich? Bob Marley, yeah. That's a good question though. What does make a person rich?
I don't know.
Like what is it to you? I guess that's what I'm asking.
Huh.
And then I'll ask you too.
Well, I like to use the word wealth.
Yeah.
Wealthy.
Yes.
And when I think of being wealthy, I think more in terms of time. But I also think in terms of access as well. Like with wealth comes a certain amount of status that allows you to position yourself in different ways, whereas if you weren't, you can't. You get what I mean? But I also think wealth comes with like having a healthy family and having a lot of good connections and good people around you. I think that's a form of wealth.
What is money without like health?
Right.
You know,
yeah.
you're
Good
like
health.
dying.
Health is wealth.
Yeah.
Yes.
But also financial wealth, because if you're not financially wealthy, then you might be stuck under a boss until you're 65. You know?
No, and that's not the goal. At least not for us.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's kind of crazy because imagine just donating your life away.
Yeah, and like
all
that's
your
the thing.
time.
While we're young, we can utilize these 9-to-5s. This is another thing.
Right.
That like being an entrepreneur and then going back into like transitioning back into that 9-to-5, it kind of like I'm like using it to learn from that 9-to-5.
Yeah.
So like I'm using how it works behind the scenes, you know, how they move things, how they deal with their customer service. Like, you know, those are all things you can utilize when or if you want to start your own business.
Right. So you're like observation.
That's interesting.
You're observing like how they operate, what the systems they have in place are and stuff
Exactly.
like that.
But like before I became an entrepreneur, I wasn't thinking that way. I was just clocking in. I'm like, clocking out.
Right.
But like I clock in and I try to learn every day and utilize the resources my job provides.
That's interesting.
It's
to
very wise.
help you, you know, develop and grow.
Right.
I never had that mindset at work. I just used it as my primary field to like know that that's not what I was going to do for the rest of my life. But I also I never wanted to work in the field of any job I was pursuing either. So I think that
So
might be.
What do you guys see yourself doing?
Ooh, I mean, I could see, I talk to him about this often. I could genuinely see myself just having conversations with people forever. Yeah. But it's like where you can take a lot of this stuff is where I see it being very fun. Like we're getting into clothing pretty soon. We're gonna start pushing clothing and like merch, apparel, stuff like that.
Yeah. Flags will be available soon.
Yeah, check that out.
Go on the website. What's the website?
We don't have one yet.
We're actually
come soon.
We're gonna try to get it made next weekend. I think is like where we're aiming for. But yeah, it's just like where you can, I guess, branch off into all these different fields and stuff. And I'm like a very creative-minded person, and I love like different endeavors, but stuff that I actually care about. So like clothing and apparel and stuff like that, especially it revolving around my business, it makes it very fun. I would much prefer to do it that way. And then translating it into, me and him both love exercise and working out and stuff like that, doing something fitness related. And I love gaming and stuff like that, doing something gaming related. You could take like something like the Go-Getters, which is a podcast once it's very big, and use it as kind of like an umbrella to like do all the other shit you really care about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
how about you?
Well, I want to obviously be having conversations with forever. Podcasting, I don't know. I think I heard you saying it, but it's kind of like a hack. Like it gives people incentives to sit down and answer any question that you have.
Yeah.
You know, and so we're working with some really cool brands, me and Kev, that we're trying to sit down and talk to them and pick their brains.
Yeah.
Yes.
And but it's like, and same thing with like the Woodlands. Like we have a podcast. They're like, yeah, come and set up shop and do your podcast, no charge.
It's very interesting about the podcast business in general, because it's very hard to just sit down and have just a regular conversation with everybody. But like he's saying, like you can get in contact with some very prestigious people and still have that conversation, which before the podcast was a thing would probably have been impossible. But just because you put that idea out there, like people are willing to come on and like actually do a podcast.
Honestly, it's really about putting yourself out there, because we may all be talented and have all of these gifts.
Yeah.
But like, who's going to see it? You know, you need to put yourself out there and step out of your comfort zone, even though it may not be something you want to do or that it's fun. Like it may be fun, but like there's still like the negative sides of, you know, putting yourself out there.
Yeah,
you know?
that's true.
There's always pros and cons to things. But it's a matter of putting yourself out there. Like if you really want to impact, you know, if you just want to keep everything to yourself, you know, that's cool too. But we really want to share and leave a legacy.
It's a weird balance though, because that's like always how I was. Like when I was younger, I was very, and still like when I was younger, I was very antisocial. I didn't like, I have a lot of anxiety. I didn't really like meeting new people. Yeah. But now that it's like basically my job, I basically just threw myself into the fire. Like I kind of just had to get better at it. Yeah. So it is a weird balance in that regard. But go ahead, my fault. Do you even?
Oh, well, I mean, you are connecting with other people's audiences as well.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like we wouldn't generally be, you know, talking to, like, how do I say this? Like, there's not a lot of women who watch our podcast.
Oh, yeah.
But we have
we're hoping
this
that.
Is the first. You're the first
now.
woman.
Yeah, you are the first woman on the podcast, so.
And we're going to be connecting with your audience. Like maybe your audience will check this out and be like, oh, I like them.
And
like,
I'm going to have y'all on.
Thank
y'all, you know,
that's
y'all
tough.
on.
We're like 99 to 1% male fucking retention.
We're working on it, though.
Yeah, we're trying, you know?
See, but that's the thing. I'm trying to get into like video podcasts as well. Because when I started mine, it was just voice.
Yeah.
But it definitely takes a lot of work as well.
Oh,
setting up and like, you know, so it's
editing, all that stuff. Because it's a whole different.
So do you guys like edit it yourself?
Yeah.
He does it. He does all the tech work. He's the wizard over there.
I didn't understand any of that stuff at first either. Like, just like you were saying, when we first started this, it was voice only. This thing basically handles all voice for you. So
get me one of those.
Yeah, it's probably like if you're going to do a podcast with a Roadcaster, is probably the best investment you can make besides like a
DJ
camera.
on there too?
Yeah, you could like.
I've been wanting to get.
They all like do different things, but we don't really have them set up. We want to like get an intro made where you could just like click it or whatever.
You guys should get a little jingle.
Soundbite, something you can Go-Getters podcast.
They made a second one though, so there's like a there's like a Roadcaster 2 now that they market towards like.
But what vibes do y'all want?
What do you mean?
Like with the podcast, y'all want like chill vibes or like I don't know.
That's
like
a good question.
Hardcore, like
that's a good question.
Sport.
Nah.
No, not really.
What
I think
vibes do you guys want?
I want it to be like for everybody. Like I want everybody to be able to come and watch it.
Yeah.
But I don't want it to be like child friendly where like we can't curse. Like I want to be able to be super
real.
authentic.
Yeah.
But also be able to be relatable to everybody in some way, shape, or form.
That's like ideally, like I guess what you want to name for a podcast, because I mean it's that niche conversation again. Like you could stick to a certain niche and it'll be beneficial for you in the moment. Yeah. But then you can't really shy from that, and then they always expect you to talk about the same thing. So that's why we try to like make it different every episode. I mean, I think at this point we've talking to probably more athletes than most people.
Right. People think we're an athlete podcast. We just talk to sports guys.
I mean. I would literally listen to your podcast and I see that you guys talk about different things, like entrepreneurship already was talked about, you know. So, but it is lots of sports stuff. But like with those athletes, they have lots of things to offer besides sports. That's what I like because they talk about mindset, discipline. Like these are all things you can apply. That's the thing. People think that only one type of person you can learn from. You can learn from so many different types of people. And it doesn't matter the age. You can learn from a kid and a freaking elder, you know? So.
But it also kind of brings us to what we were talking about before, and like trying to figure out people to interview on this podcast, especially in this area, initially was pretty hard. Like you're really only dealing with people you have known or networked with through high school and stuff like that. And most of those people in our area just went on to do sports related things. So you're really only like the pool.
And that was like your hobby as well.
Yeah.
Like you guys were into that.
He still does, he does MMA currently, but we both played football in high school. So like we were in that, I guess you could say, niche. Yeah. But it's just easier to talk to people like that because there's more of them in the area. There's not a lot of, like we were saying earlier, there's not a lot of content creators that are around here. There's really just not. So like when you're trying to pick from the pool of people that you want to interview, a lot of the times, like, one way to switch up the sport thing is to just pick somebody who plays a different sport. You know what I mean? So it's pretty easy for that. But
we have content creators on there. We had a guy who does TikTok.
I saw TikTok.
Well,
700,000 followers, like crazy.
Okay. More than me.
I want to get like a politician on and talk about some shit like that. Some like
social justice.
Something like that. I think that would be cool. Or like talk to a psychologist or a doctor, a CEO of some company. Yeah. That'd be dope. Like that'd be so cool.
It's just different types of people. Like this is good. I like this.
Yeah. That's what's interesting about a podcast, though, is you get to make the decision. You could just sit down and talk to whoever. Oh yeah,
and about yourself as well. It's like therapeutic, you know.
Yeah, it's a big learning experience. But kind of like he's saying, you get to talk to people that work in fields that you may have never even known existed prior, or that like you are very interested in. You get to pick their brain completely on like the ins and outs of what they do. You can kind of apply what you learn from these people to anything that we're doing. So. Right. It's probably the biggest networking hack in the world. Is just having a podcast.
You guys should do like virtual as well.
Like actually, we have one coming up.
We got one
like
planned.
Zoom or something.
Yeah, we got to figure out though. Maybe you can help us with it. Recording. I think there's a record feature on Zoom. Right? Are you familiar with Zoom?
Yes.
So I think Lydia told me there's a record feature on Zoom, but also like being able to hook the audio up to it, so that like the audio is heard like this, but on a Zoom call. You know, we have to figure that out somehow.
I don't know if I ever did that, but I would just do it separately, like how you guys are doing right now with I would do it on my laptop. So I'll record it on GarageBand, but then I'll still record it and have the backup audio on Zoom. It's not the best audio, so you still want to record with
so we want to use these, but we'd have to probably hook these up to the laptop.
Somehow. But what kind of laptop do you guys have?
We got the rigged up junkyard laptops. Like, I'm telling you.
Yeah, them shits get it done. Like, we don't we don't have no I don't have a MacBook yet or anything like that.
I mean, it doesn't even matter because, I mean, you guys are getting it done. But definitely the MacBook, when I first started my YouTube, like I said, I edited on my phone. But the MacBook I got later on, and it definitely helps with editing. There's like GarageBand. There's a lot.
It's very user friendly. Like all the editing softwares that I use are very complicated. It takes like quite a while to actually like learn what you're doing.
I literally use the simplest things, but people ask, "Oh my God, what do you use to edit?
Yeah.
What do you use for your mic?" Like a cheap ass Amazon microphone. Like you literally do not need to start with anything fancy.
Oh no, you don't. Even like we were just talking about before the podcast, like these mics, the Samson mics, they're $70. You know what I mean? And they sound, this thing, like I said, it really does handle a lot of that for you. Like post-production though, because this thing just makes everything more crisp, more clean, easier to understand or whatever. But I think the Zoom thing with this would actually be pretty easy. I mean, in theory, we would just have to test it, but I think you could just plug your laptop into this, run the audio through that.
Honestly as well, like what I was thinking of doing as well, like, eventually the goal is to travel out to, but you know, you gotta have your money. Yeah. But travel out to the guest or like fly them out. But I would rather fly to them because nobody who wants to come here.
And that's cool too. Like with this, not only are we networking and doing stuff for our business, but we get to travel as well. And we also like, that's something we actually talk about very often is like scheduling podcasts with people out of state or even we were working with a company that is stationed out of country, like to be able to move around and be able to travel and see the world just based off like your passion, like what we're doing.
Yeah, get your passport, son.
Yeah.
I know.
One of these days.
Go to the post office, make an appointment.
I already had gotten one. Well, not, I guess you could say got it, but I had applied for one.
Yeah.
Something happened, I guess, with the mail. By the time they had got my shit, the money order, I guess you send in, had expired, so they sent it back.
Something with the government.
Right. Yeah.
I was trying to steal your money, bro.
Trying to get money out of me. And that's what they did. We basically, like, I think, in all, we paid, I think, like $250 or something like that, and I didn't even get the passport. Wow. So, it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
What type of stuff do you like? Did you ever invest in like new software or like new cameras or anything like that? Or are you still just like getting after it with the iPhone and GarageBand and iMovie and stuff?
I mean, I still use GarageBand. Like I said, I've been off for a while, but I did invest in a camera. So like recently, like last year, I believe in like November, October, after a year and some change, after having my YouTube channel, I got a camera. It was a Sony CV1. It's a good camera.
How much did that run you?
How much was it? Maybe like 400, 500. But then I got all the accessories, like the Rode mic. And
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Best Buy just had me broke.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. But I love Best Buy. Like, I love tech. And
yeah, me too now.
Yeah, right. That's going to be a fun part of it as well. We bought that camera off of Facebook Marketplace.
Don't be sleep on Facebook Marketplace.
Got any of those sources like Mercari or anything. Yeah, like that camera typically runs for like $1,200. We got it for like $650.
But is that camera a video camera or is that like strictly for pictures?
It's a video camera. It's like a popular camera for vloggers, but like I like the feature because I didn't want a camera that I had to change lenses or anything like that. It's just way too expensive. I just wanted a camera that I could just pick up and go and record.
Yeah.
And it has a feature as well where you can click it and it blurs the background. It gives it like a professional look.
Oh, that's
portrait
dope.
feature kind of.
Yeah, without having to change your lens.
Right. Yeah, we want to get a couple new cameras so that we could like pan different angles. Yeah, like if you're talking, it's interactive and it's on you. And same with him and me. So I think that'd be really cool.
Y'all gonna get high tech on me. Come
on.
At some point, we got. I mean, shoot, that's gonna run us back, bro.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But it's an investment.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is,
and it's something we want to be doing for a while. So it's not like I mean, the money like when it leaves your account, obviously it stings a little bit. But making like the purchases for the podcast, like I genuinely love that shit. Like I just got a monitor today, like to edit my videos on, because I've just been editing them off my laptop or my TV screen. Okay. And even that, like just $100 monitor, like to your setup, like it just makes you feel so much more professional about all the shit that you're doing.
Yeah. Makes you feel motivated as well.
Oh yeah.
Keep going.
Right.
It's like a nice work environment. Like that's one thing I always struggled with at my house is like my work environment balance and then like my home life, because when you're at home a lot of the time you just want to be bullshit and just hanging around watching videos, like consuming content, whatever. Yes. And I do a lot of my work from home, so trying to find like a good balance, like you're saying, it's more professional, it makes you feel better, and it makes you more encouraged to go sit down at your desk and get work done, just like them little investments that you make.
Yeah, that's also a reason why I haven't really been creating content, because I also just moved in to my place, so I'm still like settling in. I don't feel settled, Yeah. I don't feel, cause I remember when I was making my videos, first I was living in my apartment in Florida, but then I moved back into my mom's. So I had like my room, that was like my safe space, you know, like set and dedicated. So I guess moving out, and I'm just like, oh my God, all these changes.
You should get a houseplant.
Houseplant.
I just bought a houseplant and it changed the whole world.
It's a money tree.
I love it.
Money
really?
Tree. Yeah.
Is that a real plant?
Yeah,
it's called a money tree.
Yeah.
Does it print money?
Does it grow money?
It gives you luck.
Oh really?
Ching, it's a song. I don't know. It was like popular on TikTok. It's like ching 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 goes a money tree. Every time it ching, money comes to me. Okay. It outflows in so abundantly from the top, left, right, and up under me. Wave, wave, on the money wave. Money go, money aid.
That's
money
tough.
in and out, plus money paid.
Yeah. You got that shit locked.
All that is paid.
Yeah.
So you just had to go buy that money tree.
Money tree. Is that a real plant?
Yeah,
or
it is. Look it up. It's cool too, and it's low maintenance. Like you don't have to water it. I'm gonna get me some more plants.
Yeah, this motherfucker over there is crafting bonsai trees and shit.
Yeah, I'm trying to get after the plants because it's cool because like it's something to take care of. Like it's something that you're responsible for.
Right.
And you watch it grow, and it's kind of I don't know.
My money tree, I got it when I was living with my mom, and I'm out of my mom's, and I still have it.
Oh,
like,
this is cool.
There you go.
I might have to cop the money tree.
Let me see what does it look like.
And it's like I got mine from Wegmans.
Really? And is it tall like that?
There's some that are tall, then some are short. But like I got mine, it was like this. No, it's like this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I got to get a money tree, man.
Yeah.
That's tough.
That's cool.
Some money.
Yeah, right. So did you like notice with YouTube, like there's certain ways to like make videos to make them more captivating? Because I've been doing a little bit of stuff on YouTube where I'm looking up like how to make the best type of video, and I see a lot of times people are talking about lighting, like have good lighting. And that's something that I don't know if we really figured out yet. We're just winging it.
Yeah. You know, honestly, but like it doesn't even matter. The beginning stages is how you learn. Like you'll see what works for you. Like I told you, I started with not even a ring light. I always use natural lighting.
Right.
But like, and you guys are bouncing around different locations and things like that. So you're not gonna have it down packed unless you have all of this equipment that you set up.
That'll take time.
That's an investment.
It takes time.
Yeah.
And practice. You know, it takes a while when you're setting up. Like, you know, it takes a while to set it up and have the audio, you know, sounding good and everything looking good and you feeling good, you know?
Every time it's trial and error. But me and him talk very often, and like these are reps for us. Like it's just terminology we use for like every podcast is like it's one rep closer to you just getting better and better and better as you go. So every podcast we do, like there's a lot of learning curves. It's really trial and error every time we do it.
It is.
And it's sitting down and having a conversation with somebody, especially somebody that you're not like with every day or super comfortable with.
Right.
It's a skill.
Oh yeah.
Like to be able to talk and knowing that
communication, man.
People are going to be listening as well. Like I'm sure some people watch the podcast like, man, he sounds like an idiot. Yeah. Because we do sometimes.
I'm sure.
But be like that. You're not going to resonate with everyone.
Right. But even using the right words and constructing your sentences in a way that is able to be understood. You know, it's an art. It's a real art, and like
communication is important.
Yeah, and that's why I like this too, because it has so many benefits to it.
Oh yeah,
introduced to a ton of cool people. You work with a ton of cool people, and you learn from what all of their experience and all of the value that they've studied their whole entire lives to figure out.
Right.
Or something that they're passionate about, but also you learn how to talk to people. You know, and that helps with. Sometimes I have anxiety too, like talking to new people. So, like Kevin said. These reps, like you're just putting yourself in the fire, and there's like a thing that people do on YouTube a lot. It's called like fear, or it's basically where they put themselves in like really uncomfortable situations. Yes. And by doing that, it's supposed to desensitize themselves to being embarrassed or humiliated or whatever. Like they'll jump out on an airplane and just start dancing and start like saying crazy stuff. Yeah. And they'll do that on purpose so that over time they just become accustomed to, I don't really give a damn what you have to say or think about me. So
it's really a mental thing as well. It's just like exercising that muscle.
Yeah. Right.
Scary. Self-development is a scary thing.
Oh yeah.
It's like it's tough. That journey is tough. And like there are times where you may like fall back, you know, or like fall off, quote unquote. You never really fall off because you always learn from your mistakes and from like those setbacks.
Right.
But yeah, it's tough because then you have to have that resilience to keep on going, you know. So it's like a continuous journey.
Yeah. What type of self-development do you like to practice? Like, you obviously like journaling. You know, what else are you into? Meditating and stuff like that. Like, what else do you like?
I was heavy into meditation, but now not so much. Like I don't sit there and meditate for an hour, but like throughout the day where I do find myself getting overwhelmed, I will take time to like be present. You know, like that's something that we have to remember. It's like, okay, you know, you can't control what happened in the past and you can't control what's going to happen in the future. You have to like, I take a moment to just, you know, take a deep breath. So present. I guess that is meditation.
Yeah. And I think every one of us have like our own form of meditation in a way, you know, but not into the crystals.
Not I mean, I have a crystal, but I'm not.
Crystals kind of freak me out, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, they do to me as well.
This means I just like the cute, you know.
Yeah. So you're not like into like the spiritual aspect of crystals?
I guess I'm more so like spiritual within like the self-development, like yourself, not into like. I was once into the crystals, but you know, I just like it more so.
Yeah, like I don't want to bash the crystals.
For the crystal community.
I just don't understand it.
They'll come for you.
I know they will. They're fangs. Come and get me.
Oh man.
But
hell no.
Yeah, no. There's a ton of different ways that people practice, and
It's what works for you, man.
Right. So
also I do like mini podcasts, but obviously I don't post it. But I'll do voice notes, so it's a form of journaling, but not in a way of writing.
You do that too. Right?
I used to do that all the time. I don't really do it much anymore. Now that you said that, like that just lit a fire in my ass. I gotta restart doing it. I used to literally do it like every week. I would sit down like just on my back porch, just hang out. And I would just talk to my phone or like with an AirPod in.
Yes.
Just like a 10 minute, 10, 15, or however long I wanted it to be. Just about like how my week was, kind of just like a weekly recap. Because my memory is fucked.
Oh
like
my God. I think it's actually a form of actually exercising your brain as well.
Yeah.
Because you're like, thinking back at, I don't know, because I feel like dementia is going to be something that's very, very big with our generation. Oh, yeah. Because of the phones and like drugs and all that stuff. So I feel like that's good.
Banging our heads around too, like football, you with fighting, like our brains are gonna be fucked.
That's already something that's like big with like elders, but I feel like it's gonna be big with our generation.
Hopefully Elon figures it out, man. Right. Neuralink it up. And we're just
I need to take some shots to like make my
Now that I think about it though, like this whole podcasting thing was very similar to what I used to do back then, in the sense that we've talked about this on a few podcasts, but like forever. We'll be able to come back and watch these from when I started this whole like thing, like the idea of doing this when I was 18. Yes. So like I'll be able to go back to the point where I think the first podcast we posted, I was already 20, but from like the start of that, from when I was 20 all the way up until the point where wherever I am in the future, I can go back and basically watch myself talking to people every single week. So it'll basically be the same thing. I'll get to see like where I was at in life, the ideals and like thoughts that I had at certain times. Yes. So it's very similar. Crazy. That voice note thing, it's a very good idea though. It's very like, what's the word? Like, I don't know. It's very cleansing for your mind just to like get certain things out.
Like you're like, because you're not worried about who's listening. You're just talking, and like sometimes while you're talking, I don't know if you guys feel this way. You feel like you're not making sense. I don't know. I like overthink things. I'm like,
me too.
Is what I'm saying making sense right now? Then I go back to listen and I'm like, yo. Yeah, I was really talking some shit. Like.
Yeah, right. But it's also very personal, like when you do those voice notes too, and you're not hiding anything because you don't need to hide anything to yourself. You don't need to
talk a certain way or dress a certain way or look a certain way or oh my God, be shy.
Because nobody knows you better than you. So like if you're just sitting down and talking to yourself, basically, you're not going to hold anything back.
No, but y'all heard of the Apple breach? Whoever in my hackers, they're going to listen to my voice notes. And
Apple has everything. Apple has everything. When you click that terms and services, man, they know everything. Yeah.
But to a degree, though, like if we post podcasts, say for 10, 15, 20 years of us having conversations every week, and it'll get to a point where we're doing multiple a week, they are going to know everything they need to know about me anyways. That's kind of how I look at it. Like,
I don't know, man.
I mean, shit, like that whole thing with TikTok and like their
they got like
it's just a lot. It's
they
scary,
can read your messages. They have access to your photos.
They can see whatever they want to see.
Yeah, right. That's how I'm kind of coming to.
It's the big network.
When China comes though, it's going to be bad news.
Well, it's a Chinese-owned company too. Yeah. That's like what everybody's scared about.
That was fucked up. Somebody gonna watch this.
But one of the craziest things that I found out about that. No. Oh yeah. No, one of the craziest things I've seen.
Speculation.
What are you talking about?
An invasion.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're about to fucking invade Taiwan. Right. Like right now as we speak.
What if they come and get us, bro?
I mean.
You think we'll have a war? You think there'll be a World War III?
I'm going to just be in my world, honestly.
At that point,
fuck it. You wouldn't get strapped up and go out there and fight for the country?
Bandana
I'm going to just be in the house healing.
War paint?
I might get into crystals, maybe.
Right. I think I'll get into crystals if fucking war breaks loose in America.
I'm not. I mean, maybe practice. Some shots. Get a Glock.
Yeah.
Nice.
Might have to buckle down, hunker down.
Yeah, hunker down with the war paint and shit. Yeah. Oh my God. So, what's next for you? Like, what do you think? I think I may have already asked you this, but do you like see a future in which like you start this back up pretty soon, like your whole like media venture?
Yeah, I think by the end of this year.
Okay.
Because there's no perfect time. It's like
no, there's really not.
Initially, like when I see now, like, I don't know if you guys experience this, but like you ever have like this artist that you fuck with and they stop making music and you're like, yo, where the fuck? Like, what's going on? Like, come on. But now I see why those artists go MIA. It's a lot because like we're all creators in a sense. Like we create things. Yeah. May it be music, may it be podcasts, may it be videos, may it be art. We're all creators. Yeah. So it's sometimes you need that time to like recoup and like get re-inspired and find your style and your voice. Because like I said, it's easy to get influenced. So yeah, I feel like, I'm ready to be back. And I've been doing lots of self-discovery as well.
That's good. You also can't ever feel like you're forcing yourself to do it, because that, like, you just won't want to do it. It'll be so noticeable too. So like, I think there is a right time to do it in that regard. Like, if you feel like you need a break, come back when you feel like you're ready to do it, and that it's not just like a way to make money, or like you have a hard time getting yourself to your desk to do what you have to do, because that's not healthy either. Yeah.
So now I guess I have to balance my 9 to 5 with my creative, because when I was doing it, it was just full-time creative stuff. Yeah. But that was like my main source of income. So now it's like my job is my main source of income. So I'm going to use it as like a side hustle, and have fun with it.
Yeah, literally just
that's the mindset.
Treat it as a hobby until it's no longer a hobby.
Right. So it's making you money.
You'll know when you've hit that level of like, damn, like this shit's getting real. Like you'll know when that comes. And even for us, like we're nowhere near that. Like we have these little steps all the time. Like even just the ability to be able to come here and have this like space for free, like that's so big to me.
That is.
But like, where it will go in the future, I think you kind of just, you can't really focus on that stuff because it'll drive you insane. And I'm a big overthinker like you in that sense too. So like it drives me wild thinking about like, what the future holds.
When you're a go-getter though, like you're constantly thinking though, and you're constantly wanting to excel.
Yeah.
More and more.
Never settle.
That's like where I think the overthinking helps. Like it helps me a lot behind the scenes, but it hurts a lot while we're rolling. Yeah. Because like I'm constantly just trying to like micromanage. Like, damn, like does the video look good? Does the audio sound good?
But
like, is it entertaining?
Just put it out there. Someone's going to watch.
Yeah.
Someone's going to be inspired, and they're going to enjoy that. So.
And like, I mean, obviously, like we do it for the fans as well. But like, I do this like for myself a lot as well. Like, there's a lot I need to prove to myself in that regard. So like I do it a lot for me as well. I try not to focus on like all the outside like voices and like
block out the noise. And block out the noise. It's a lot of noise on social media out in the world. Like it's a lot of noise. You have to be in tune with your thoughts and yourself and I guess I'm very big on just finding your voice. Yeah. I keep saying that, but that's kind of I guess where I'm at in my life. Yeah. Where I'm self-discovering and I'm not being afraid to be alone as well. Like you have to learn about yourself, because oftentimes, like especially in high school, you're constantly surrounded by people. Oh, I'm going here. Oh, let's come on. Like you'll take your friends. You go with your friends. But like adulthood now, like it gets lonely, especially when you want to branch out and do things like creatively or like you want to start a business. That's not something that's conventional. So it does get lonely, but you have to learn how to embrace those alone times.
Oh yeah, entrepreneurship is a lonely road because nobody gets you. Nobody understands like what it is that you're trying to achieve. And I don't think anybody like besides you will really ever understand that. But then it'll come to a point like where everybody wants to be around you because of what you're doing. Yeah. Which is like it's also tricky to balance that as well, like the fakes from the reals.
I guess like your mentality comes into play because you have to still be able to go and be resilient despite the negative stuff, the negative energy people are putting onto you, or like, those thoughts.
I'm getting a lot better with that as we go. Like I'm starting, like more and more every day, I'm starting to not give a shit about what people say behind the scenes.
It's a skill though. It's a skill.
It is. You gotta train that.
I found myself I remember when I first started creating content, or just like in general, just growing up, when I was younger, I was very much a people pleaser.
Me too.
And I would try to make everyone happy. And like, that's still the goal, but like, my happiness comes first.
Oh yeah.
It's like, how am I supposed to share positivity and light and happiness if I'm not myself happy?
Yeah. That seems like something a lot of content creators share though, is that at one point they felt like they may have not necessarily had or felt like their voice was heard, I guess, but you would always try to like make sure everybody else is happy and entertained and having a good time, but it's kind of to fill that void in yourself, I guess, almost, you know what I mean?
Or sometimes also, in a way, because you really don't have people. Most content creators, I don't know if you guys notice this, are like loners or kind of like black sheep or like outcasts. And like that is why not a lot of people, I'm not gonna say I don't know, I'm not gonna say that, but that's why it's not very common for someone to be able to start a YouTube channel or things like that. Because, like, that's kind of a creative outlet. So, like, I was going through stuff mentally in Florida, but that, like, motivated me to start my YouTube channel. It's like a creative outlet that you turned on the camera and you forgot what was going on around you,
And also a lot of, like, I guess, you could say like popular, for lack of a better term, like people that surround themselves around a lot of people, especially throughout their high school careers, aren't very comfortable doing like things like this in their alone time. You know what I mean? Because they're not really used to or comfortable being by themselves.
Yes, I know a lot of people like that, and I have friends like that as well. I'm like, you don't go out to eat by yourself, and like I have one of my friends. She's like, hell no, what I look like eating by myself, and like it takes a skill as well.
That's a skill for sure. Because that's I don't even do that.
No, I do. Like, and after this, I'm going to go probably, do they have a bar here?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Go right
yeah,
to
a couple.
Will they have a club too?
Yeah. Actually, tonight.
Restaurants. Yeah.
Tonight is going to be a scary day to go there, though. Saturday nights, the Woodlands gets pretty hectic.
Rocking with a bulletproof vest, maybe.
Yeah.
You already know.
Button that jacket up a little bit. It'll do the job. But yeah, we know all of them down there. Shout out to this fucking place, one more time. All of our friends work here, pretty much. So yeah, this is a dope spot. It's a dope environment.
That's lit. But yeah, you got to learn how to be by yourself and have fun with yourself and like be cool with your thoughts. Like the other day, and that's the thing, like, I guess I work from home. So working from home constantly, I'm not really around people like that. This is something that I don't do often.
Yeah.
Like talking to people like this. Well, I just came from vacation, and that was kind of like a form of interacting with people. But for the most part, I work from home and I work virtually. And like, yes, I talk to people, but it's not the same as being in front of people like this. So
yeah, I think that's important because especially when you're going through like mental health issues, your mind isn't so much a place of refuge, and it's hard to be with yourself because your thoughts are constantly racing, and maybe it can be a negative, intrusive thought cycle, and it's tough. And so I think you have to do the necessary work to get yourself to a place where your mind is a healthy place. It's a happy place.
And that's the thing, those thoughts will always be there though, but it's how you react to it.
Yeah.
Like, are you going to be like, dwell on that thought, negative thought, like,
right.
oh my God, until you like have a panic attack, or are you going to find ways to cope?
Right.
Relax.
Right. And not invest so much into our thoughts because our thoughts are not us.
Yes.
And I think that comes with mindfulness though. I think that is the root of mindfulness is being simply able to observe your thoughts rather than thinking that they are you, And so that's a way.
It also takes like reps and experience too to like be able to emotionally and mentally control yourself under certain kinds of stress. That's like one thing like I was touching on before. Like I kind of self-diagnosed myself. I honestly, I genuinely believe everybody has anxiety.
Yeah.
But
some form of it at least.
Oh yeah.
Some way. Something always makes us anxious,
But the reps of doing this podcast like helps that out a lot for me. Like with my mindfulness and being able to like recognize like like I've been here before. Like I've had this like feeling, I've had this experience, I've had this anxiety, like I felt this way before.
Yeah.
How do I combat it? Because I've experienced it before multiple times, you know what I mean? So we all know like what it is, but it takes a certain number of reps, I think, to actually have it like honed into like an actual skill where you can utilize it every time.
Definitely.
It takes a lot of reps.
Sounds like you guys have it down packed though. Like I fuck with the vision and the mindset.
Yeah.
Like not a lot of people around here have that mindset, which is why I'm like, I was excited to come on here because like I was listening to the podcast. I'm like, y'all be talking.
Yeah.
Y'all be dropping gems. A lot of them, the Giovanni one. I watched the ones where you guys started with audio and then transitions.
Okay.
I was just taking a look.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Getting the vibes.
Appreciate that.
It's definitely, thank you. It's definitely not all there yet. Like that's one thing like I want to make clear. Like it's definitely a learning experience. And even like he was saying before, every time I sit down with somebody new, like it's like restarting basically. Like trying to figure out like how you're going to get through it or like the anxieties that come with every time you sit down to, I guess, do a new episode. It definitely takes time. So we're not all there yet, but it definitely gets easier every time.
Trust the process.
Yeah.
Trust the process.
For sure.
I fuck with it.
Yeah.
Thank you very, very
we'll
much.
end on that note, but thank you for being here. Tell the people where they can, find your YouTube channel, your pages, like whatever you want them to see. Your Patreon too. I know we didn't even get to touch on that, but whatever, like wherever these people can go.
Just my name, Aida Ozuna. So AIDA OZUNA.
Oh yeah.
Everywhere, Aida Ozuna.
There you go. And
cool.
That's it.
YouTube, Instagram,
Instagram,
everything.
Patreon.
I think I said Ozuma in the beginning.
Ozupa.
Yeah, that's what I said in the beginning. Wow.
Well,
it still sounded cool though.
Yeah,
I fuck with the intro.
There you go.
No, you're good.
This has been real. It's been a great time. Our first female guest. Females, please come start watching the show.
Yeah.
Show us some love.
Yeah.
Let us know how we did.
Yeah. This has been great, though. We appreciate you being here.
Different, diverse people.
Yeah, for sure. We try every time. Yeah. Fuck it. This has been great, though, guys.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming all this way.
Yeah, all this way. Down here to the Woodlands. Again, shout out to the Woodlands 3 times.
Right. Shout out to the Woodlands. Sponsor us.
Facts. At some point, we're going to see it coming, but that's love.
Bye.
Love you guys. Peace out.